Gruesome and funny hamster death stories from iFunny, as narrated by me. My hamster bit my finger, so I panicked and flung it into the fireplace. I did the same thing, but instead of the fireplace, I flung it somewhere random in a messy room. Found it dead a bit later. Was like 5. I heard one got stuck in its hamster ball in the pool, but it had a hole in it, so water started entering the ball until eventually the hamster drowned. The fat chonk choked to death on the corner of his food bowl in the middle of the night. Not a hamster, but a chinchilla. It was crawling around on the floor and scared my macaw. The macaw screamed and scared the chinchilla, so it ran into the nearest hidey hole, an open vent. It fell into the vent, into the basement wall, and tried to eat an electrical wire. It exploded. Little guy was playing with the door stopper, and it flung back and cracked his skull. It would be fun to take him outside. It got grabbed by a hawk. It got stressed, ate its babies, husband ate it, then the husband just collapsed on its own. Thought mine was dead, burned it. Apparently it was hibernating. It had babies while I was at a Nickelodeon cruise, and it died and the babies ate it. Tried running on his wheel for the first time, slipped sideways and landed in the support frame. The wheel looped back around and broke his neck and left him hanging there. Mine escaped, ate a potato, and exploded. Ours was a jerk, not very friendly to any of our family. One day it got out and disappeared for 3 months before appearing from an air vent, looking half dead, and keeling over hours later as if seeing us was the final nail in the coffin. I put mine onto the floor, and it immediately sprinted into the roaring fireplace. A friend of mine threw a dodgeball at me in my room. It missed and smashed into the cage. The hamster then started screaming, keeled over, died. Mine just exploded when I looked at it. Apparently he overheated. One of my friends was play throwing it in the air, and her brother came in and turned on the ceiling fan without noticing the hamster. What you think happened is what happened. Rolled his ball down the stairs. That wasn't what killed it. When I picked him back up and was carrying him, he jumped out of my hands and fell to his death. My cousin put mine in the microwave. Knew someone who lost their hamster and moved around furniture looking for it. Turns out they moved the couch on top of it. My mom's relative had a parakeet. They let it out while someone was cooking, so it grabbed my hamster and flung him into the frying pan. My friend accidentally threw the teacher's hamster into a ceiling fan. Yes, it died, and she was devastated. Also not mine, but a friend was trying to see how much the hamster could carry, so she stacked books onto it until it died. One of my hamsters named Stewart had a battle to the death with my mom's dog. He lost soon after biting my dog in the nipples. One was killed by a parrot, and the last one went peacefully in his sleep. They were all named Stewart. My brother's hamster ate mine when we went to the store. He was on his back with ribcage pulled open, and the other hamster was covered in blood. We went back to the pet store and I got a fish. Not mine, but I was at my brother's friend's house when I was super young and kicked it while it was rolling around in its hamster ball, because my young brain associated the shape with soccer and I didn't think using it would hurt him. I had a hamster named Chicken because he looked like a drumstick since he was brown from the waist up and white from the waist down. Chicken got out of his house one time and my mom was helping me look for him. He ran by her feet while she was lifting up my toy box and she dropped it on him. Wet pop. My aunt had one long ago and it escaped from the cage, escaped the house, and ended up in the neighbor's house, getting killed by a mouse trap. Mine got out of its cage somehow and squared up to our German Shepherd, who proceeded to bite it right on its spine, shake it around like a toy, and throw it across the room, leaving it paralyzed. It died a day later in agony, squealing the entire time. Hamster cage was next to the sink. Little Buddy wanted to go down the drain. Nobody knew where he was, so later that night my mom turns on the garbage disposal, and yeah. In 7th grade, we had a class pet hamster, and it somehow got out of its cage and snuck under a beanbag, and some fat girl sat on it. It didn't die from its injuries, but it died a few hours later. My brother had a guinea pig, and the cage we had for it was for a chinchilla, so it was like 5 feet tall, and it fell through a grate on the bottom that he accidentally left open, and it broke its neck. Hamsters on top of a fridge in the basement, and put my hand in, got bit, and pulled finger away out of instinct. He held on and got flattened into the concrete ground, fled under the fridge, died. My hamster scratched me, so I squeezed it with my bare hands so hard that it exploded like C4, and it took me a year to clean up all the blood that got stuck in the carpet. Someone I knew in middle school, he had a hamster and his girlfriend had it in her boobs, and it wound up suffocating and dying. My friend told me she and her sisters had a hamster. The hamster would use its wheel at night and keep them awake, so one of her sisters stuffed a sock in the tunnel so the hamster couldn't run on its wheel. The hamster ended up burrowing through the sock, trying to get to the wheel, and suffocated. Had a few when I was a kid. One got out and we figured it died. 2 weeks later, it came out from hiding and the dog tried to play with it. It bit the dog, and when the dog shook its head to get it off, she slammed him into a wall, killing him. Guinea pig, not hamster, but when I was around 7 or so, we had his cage by an open window, and an actual hawk came in and snatched him. Left my door open one night, and my dog ran into my room, knocked over the cage, ripped him out, and ate him. My hamster would have a tendency to chew on the upper part of his cage every night. Thing is, he would climb up and chew and have no real way to safely get back down. One night he did his normal chewing and had fallen on his head and broke. Mine got out of its cage and crawled on me. As I thought it was a spider, I grabbed it and chucked it like a grenade. I then went outside and sat next to it in its final moments after I realized spiders are not grenade shaped with hamster fur and they don't squeal like hamster. While I was giving my hamster water from the water feeder that you're supposed to hang up in its cage, my fingers were probably too close together so he bit me, which caused me to squeeze the water into him and caused him to explode. My friend took out his hamster wheel 'cause it was squeaky and kept him up at night, and his hamster died of obesity. Got electrocuted from chewing on wires. Choked on a sunflower seed. I came home, and the one hamster ate the other's one's face off and half the right side of the head off. Day later, he died of I don't know. It just got a big old bulge on its arm, and I released it to the outside because it was too cheap of a pet to take it to the vet. I never had one, but my friends started bleeding from its eyes before it died. My sister's hamster ate her other hamster, and then she just got rid of him because she didn't want to take care of it anymore. It didn't die, but my cousin, who was about 7 or 8 at the time, was showing me his hamster. I looked away for a second and heard a crash and a thud behind me. He put the hamster on a Hot Wheel and launched it off the bed to the doorway. My friend's hamster died of from glue fumes. Jumped from a 2-story window and died. My friend put his on the trampoline and started to bounce with it. He flung his hamster off the trampoline and it landed on the cement path. My son had boy and girl hamsters. He played with his favorite. They had babies. They attacked and killed his favorite because it was tamed, I guess. They ate its face off. He woke up early one morning, saw its face missing, and asked me what happened. He was 5. Traumatized him. Not my hamster, but they put it in a ball and stuck it on the top of the bunk in their room. It walked off, was breathing really fast, but was unharmed. But their grandfather stuck it in a sandwich bag in the freezer to kill it. His name was the Colonel. He was a white dwarf hamster. He developed a tumor a third of the size of the body, which ruptured. Basically, he exploded. My hamster walked into my forge while I had it turned on, and it got baked. My friend's hamster had one of those balls, and they had these baby gates on the top of their stairs so it wouldn't go down. But one day his dad opened them to get upstairs, and the thing went Mach speed down the stairs and hit the wall, essentially crushing its skull. It got ran over by, and I kid you not, an M1A2 Abrams. It got outside during a military parade and got crushed before I could save it. Hamster was chewing on the wood chips and then had the bright idea to try and eat one. It didn't work, obviously. When I was little, my hamster had really big balls. My dad told me that he just had a big butt, so every day I would fondle his balls, thinking it was just his butt. One day I spanked his butt, and one of his balls popped. He died. I put my hamster on my remote-controlled truck and drove it around outside. We hit a bump and fell into a pool of water. He drowned before I could save him. Ours got out of the cage and ran around the house and hid inside the heater vent and died. When we turned the heat on is when we knew it died. My brother's hamster was killed by a spider, who then laid its eggs in the dead hamster's stomach. My dog ate it. Had two hamsters. One day come home, and one ate the other. Only the butt with two legs was left. When I was younger, I put mine in a shoe and threw it up in the air a couple times, and tried to put it back in the cage like no one would notice it was dead. Snickers got tired in his ball, left him in his cage to rest, came back, and he drowned in like a centimeter of water after the water bottle top came off and filled some of the cage. After it bit my daughter, it suffered sudden deceleration sickness. Walls don't play. One ate the other, so my dad threw it in a field and shot it with a shotgun. When I was enlisted in the US Army, they let us keep any pets we found, and while I was stationed in Iraq, I found a hamster and kept him. A few days later, I was riding in a Humvee and we hit an IED. Luckily, no one was killed, except for my hamster, which was riding in my shirt pocket and was hit by shrapnel. A friend of mine's sister painted hers with Barbie makeup, and it ate the makeup and died. When I was younger, I was really into Roblox. One time my cousin came over. He told me that if I put my hamster in the microwave, I would get free Robux. Needless to say, the hamster exploded and I did not get my Robux. 10th grade Spanish class had a hamster for some reason. It died from eating sour Skittles and the Venom energy drink we replaced his water with. My dad told me how when he was younger, they would blow weed smoke into the hamster's cage, and one night they blew a lot, and the hamster got too high and died. I accidentally squished mine with part of its cage. It escaped its cage and we couldn't find it for days. Turns out the cat ate it after it escaped and regurgitated it behind the washing machine. I was 3 or 4, throwing my hamster up in the air and catching it, but on my last throw it hit the ceiling fan and was launched into the wall. Dog kinda picked it up and swallowed it. My old childhood friend tried to spank it with her finger and shattered its spine. I had two. One ate a towel and died, and one died of old age. Mine choked on a Pringle. I forgot to close his cage before I left the house, and my dog got in my room and ate him after he crawled out. My sister's hamster got fat and got stuck in his tube and starved to death, and the other one she got just stopped moving and died. My cat gave it a heart attack. My hamster ate drywall, then drank water which made the drywall expand, so he exploded. I was playing with my brother's hamster, just holding it and petting it, squeezed a little because I felt something weird, and yeah, I cracked its ribs and it probably died a slow and painful death. My friend had a baby hamster and an adult hamster, and the baby hamster was tortured to death by the adult one. I had a guinea pig that died to constipation. We had a pet snake. My dad bought all of us girl hamsters and one male. He would put the male in different cages with the females and would feed the babies to the snake. My hamster would hang out in the spare bedroom, which had its own bathroom. My dad left the door open and somehow the hamster got into the toilet and drowned. Cat pulled it through the bars of the cage and ripped it up. I could see the guts. My cousin's hamster got out of its cage and somehow made it from her room in the basement upstairs to the living room. Then when my aunt vacuumed under one of their sofas, it got sucked in and got stuck at the tube entrance and the suction ripped it in half. I accidentally left the door open and my dog walked by and grabbed a snack for the road. Too young to know this was bad, me and the neighborhood friend were playing catch with it. We tossed it up on a pillow and catch it with a pillow. One time we missed and it broke its leg. It died soon after. Not my hamster, but my cousin's. I was at his house one night with his friend who was notorious for always ruining everything without even trying, and the next morning we found the hamster dead under his friend because it got out and he rolled over it in his sleep. My dad had a hamster when he was a kid that crawled into the ducts somehow and fell down into the furnace. Mine had some kind of seizure and died in my hands. My wife slammed one in a book when she was little because she saw it on a kids show, and it died instantly. Every time she tells me the story, I can't help but laugh. Mine just kept doing backflips and just died. Mine died by pooping itself so much, and the poop got stuck inside it and apparently filled it with poo, and it died. I put mine on the couch and was jumping on the couch, so it was bouncing around, and it bounced off and perfectly hit its head on the coffee table. Instant death. Siblings and I had 3 of them. 2 of them got pregnant and ate the skulls of the other babies. The male then ate the skulls of the 2 moms, and then we do believe that the cats tipped the enclosure that night and got the last hamster. Put mine on a car ride from New Jersey to Indiana, and it died like a week later from stress. My brother dropped mine, then when he went to grab it off the floor, his knee crushed it. My friend tried to dry his off in the microwave. Dog bit through the cage and basically crushed it. Mine was seizing and screaming until it stopped breathing. Had a friend who had a gerbil. The thing hung itself. Crawled into the heating vent and never came out. Mine got lost in the basement with its hamster ball. We found its rotting corpse when we found an ant trail leading to it. They had already harvested about half of it. My little brother had his only for a half of a month, and it was obese, and it died by a heart attack in the middle of the night. All we heard was tiny squeaks, then nothing. I sneezed next to my hamster, and he died of a heart attack. It drowned in my dog's water bowl. I came home really sick from work and found the contents of my cage all over around the room. The cats can apparently turn the doorknob. It developed a tumor on its belly that got so big that he got stuck in his travel tube and starved to death. My one hamster, Jumpy, killed his brother Noodle, like 2 days after killing my bigger hamster, Teddy, and my dad went to get Noodle's body out, and Jumpy bit him, so my dad punched Jumpy, and I didn't have a hamster anymore. Mine got so scared of its own fart it died of shock. The hamster ball broke, so I found this weird ornament thing and put her in it. There were no air holes once sealed. Yeah. My hamster had a blockage in its rectal cavity and it blimped up to twice its size before exploding. My hamster somehow got out of its cage and I saw it running around the house. I have 3 cats, so you can kind of see where this is going. Anyway, I was trying to catch it as fast as I could, but before I knew it, one of my cats already had it in its mouth. We weren't allowed to have pets, and the landlord came in when we weren't home. The landlord then proceeded to eat it. My brother squeezed mine too hard and popped its eye out. Had some cousins over. One was a right devil child. Literally spoiled rotten brat, got whatever he wanted, never faced punishment, etc. Hamster is making noises sometime in the night. The little child comes out and before I react, takes hamster out of the cage and shakes it vigorously. Pretty sure it was broken back. I went away for a weekend, left it extra food and water, and the mother-father drank all the water on the first day, 'cause I got home late day 3 and the little child was basically a mummy. My dog thought they were chew toys. Shat himself to death. I was like 7. I had a hamster as well as my cousin, and we were playing Find the Hamster, I guess. I decided to put mine in an exhaust pipe of a truck. But, yeah. We did find him. When my dad went to work the next day, he shot out of the exhaust pipe like a rocket and splattered against the garage door. I handed mine to my little cousin, and she, being like 2 at the time, thought it was a Beanie Baby or something and just squeezed it till its eyes popped out of their sockets. My sister let her hamster out to play with her boyfriend's hamster, and his hamster ate it. My brother put it in the garbage disposal. Self-cannibalism. Not mine, but while cleaning its cage, my sister made a fort out of pillows to keep it out of the sun, but didn't realize that doing so essentially made a microwave, which made the hamster explode. Mine fell off the counter. My brother decided to test how tough my hamster was and sat on him with a book. Fell down the stairs.